Today, the name of the game is Screaming and Growling.
Oh my god! Okay, yeah, let's go.
But we'll start with very basic questions. That do you recall when you heard like heavier rock/metal music for the first time in your life?
It's a memory from like back in my childhood when there were still CDs around. And in our local CD store, they had those players where you could check the music before you buy it. And that was a wild time because you had like your pocket money and you had to spend it on one album per month. And you just went for the best cover, the most brutal cover. And I remember that it was Easter. Like I couldn't say how old I was, but Easter, and I found out that I like Dimmu Borgir a lot. And what else for this sacred holiday? My parents bought me the newest Dimmu Borgir album, not knowing what that is, but I totally enjoyed it. And that was like, that was a different kind of screaming, but then this was the start of everything, you know, like harder music, not the Metallica, but the like really
extreme.
Yeah. And from then on, I just went harder every Easter, I would say, because like music evolved, you know, metalcore, post-hardcore, and so on, deathcore, whatever. Yeah.
For me, it was actually a bit different. I wasn't into that kind of music at all, like back in the days. But that changed with one album that I think it was The Poison. Is it The Poison from Bullet for My Valentine?
Yes.
Where I like totally fell in love with that shouting and like melodic shouting that was not that super hard and super like Dimmu Borgir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually the point of no return for me, I think. Yeah.
So was it like Dimmu Borgir and Bullet for My Valentine, which made you musicians and pick up a microphone, or how did that happen for you?
No, that was just the turning point. I was listening to music my whole life. At that time, I was already singing and making music, but that was the time where I realized that I really like harder music. That changed a bit.
When it comes to the band or the environment, the musical environment that we had that made us decide to be in a band, I would say it's the MySpace generation, you know, like the MySpace time when bands like Attack and like when Bring Me the Horizon started. Asking Alexandria, when they were not wearing hoodies on stage. And I would say this was a time when those bands make the music genre really, really big, you know. We loved that time and they inspired us to have our own band. We wanted to be part of this scene, you know, but at the same time we wanted to make something different. We wanted to make that kind of music with a little twist, and that's why we started to have that electronic influences in our music.
So when you started screaming, were there like some specific vocalists that you first tried to mimic, and how did that like vocal evolution started for you?
I have to be honest here, I am not a professional. I'm in this band and I just scream, and when I first started to scream with our old band, it was like just going hard, you know, and I'm still doing it. And you learn how to use your voice, like it's like
trial and error in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think screaming, of course, you can adjust the way you scream. Some people do fake screams, some people do like the real screams. You can inhale, exhale, whatever technique you're using, but the sound of your voice doesn't really change. Like a singing voice is different. Like every singer sounds different, and that's the same situation with screaming and growling voices. And I do this in our band and I love to do it because it's like the most extreme way of bringing out your voice, and I like breakdowns, I like hard music, that's why I love to be the part of the band. But I have no specific singer that I was like going after to mimic him or something. It was more like, oh, he screams, I scream, and then it sounds shit. It hurts in my throat, so I have to adjust things, and I couldn't write a book about it. I couldn't teach people because I'm not a professional.
Actually, the same for me. I started screaming. Usually I just was like just a singer. I just remember with my former band, there was a time where we had like two vocalists as well. And our shouter was like, hey man, I just can't do like anything on my own. So I started to help him out on stage. So that was my try and error, like just trying to fill in, doing some screams on stage. And I think because of the way I used to sing, or like the way that I'm singing, it was not that far away from screaming. I mean, sounds weird, but it's actually not that far away from singing when it comes to like really like that. What would you say that like so schöne Kratzen, so like that crispy?
Yeah, the crispy
tones. So it's not that far away to just kill the tone out of your screams, like out of your singing voice. So yeah, that's what was the reason why I started screaming, and I'm still doing it. Like I'm just like the fill-in part for him. So whenever he's like taking a breath, I'm taking in.
But we do sound good at the same time. Like when we both scream together, it's good.
But we both are no professionals. We never learned it or could teach anybody how to do it. It's and all I can say to you is like the only advice that I can give, if you are into that kind of music and if you want to try it, just try. I mean, maybe you are super talented and you realize that there is something inside of you that has to come out. But
I must say in this point that it's very good that you are not like classically trained in a way, because that's the way how you sound like you. I just did an episode with like Max Cavalera for the same series. And he said that when he's in a studio, he doesn't want the producer, for example, to correct his English, because he feels that he would lose his own identity. Yeah. It's his mistake because he's a Brazilian.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's where you sound like you if you are not like learning from like YouTube. So I guess every vocalist should learn that by themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I have to say there are some techniques that you can learn. For example, like even me, like after so many years, I kind of switched some techniques, like a little more hardcore-ish here and there, or like a little bit fake screams, like when it goes a little bit higher. But this is just to like put the details on things, you know. And as you say, it's good to find your own way. And if it doesn't work at all, there are so many good people on the internet. Like I found some, I don't know the name, but there is a guy on Instagram. He gives so many good advices. He's like teaching you exactly where to go with your voice. He's like doing this, and then he goes, I go here, and now you're in the middle, and then you go a little bit lower, and he guides you through the different tones of your voice.
Most famous one is Melissa Cross, I think.
Yeah, Melissa Cross, of course, but this guy, like, he's doing it, I can't remember his name, but he's doing it in a great way, I think.
So were you losing your voice when you started screaming? And did it take like a long time to sort of find the way
Funny
so
story,
that you don't lose?
Funny story is when we are at home, I'm not into anatomy and I can't explain it to you correctly, but when I'm at home, it feels, or we haven't had shows in a long time, let's say a month or two, it feels like my voice gets surrounded, like the vocal cords get surrounded by like something, I don't know, and they need to be free of that for me to scream and to shout properly. And when I go back to the studio to rehearse, it's like I can't do it properly. It sounds like shit the first day. I have to get that shit off of my vocal cords, and then it's like a lot of spitting, a lot of like and then I'm free again. I'm feeling it, you know.
But it's a muscle, so you sort of need to also open it up a bit.
Exactly. Yeah, warming up is the one thing, but it feels like it's surrounded by like
more time than
like
just an hour.
Whatever, I can't tell you. Yeah. Like when I start to go back to the studio or back to the rehearsals, it's like I spit out a lot of like stuff. I don't know. It's and then I'm like it feels raw. My voice feels raw. Right now when we're on tour, it's like I have this deeper tone in my voice. I don't have it when I'm back home. Like, can't explain it, but it feels better. It feels better, and I have much more control over my voice this way.
I'm actually losing my voice whenever I can't hear myself properly. So when you have a show, you have that shows where the stage is like super full of bass and you can't hear anything properly, so you have to scream against anything and you can't hear yourself. Then I can say right at the beginning I can tell you I'm gonna have a sore voice the next day. But when anything is like it should be, we can actually do like a whole tour when everything is going fine. But not losing our voices, but you get a bit sore. That's for sure. I mean, it's not only about the singing and screaming. It's more about the talking right before, talking like after the show. You're not shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? You're talking about the show and everything. And usually you should just go off stage, do like I call it warm up after, like a warm down, and then just go to bed and shut the fuck up. That would be the best way to get your voice some rest, but it's not always that easy.
Do you have a routine that you follow before the show? Do you warm up to scales or what kind of routine? And has that like changed during the years?
Just, for me, it's just Jägermeister. No, we have like our vocal warm ups. I think it's the same for you. It's just 1 hour before the show. Try to get focused. Doing some lip rolls. We have that bottle. I think you know that thing, like the bottle with the straw, where you can.
This is actually pretty good.
Opening up lungs in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I do like after the show, when I don't forget it, I do that like warm down. So I'm doing the same for half an hour or 20 minutes, just to get the voice like down slowly and not immediately. Yeah.
Same for me. We do the warm up like almost together. Some singing, some rough vocals, you know. But I love after a show and I'm like in tour mode. We always call it tour mode when our voice just works, you know. You have a small warm up just, and afterwards I go to have a shower. It's perfect because that like the steamy air. It feels so good, and then we like do some la 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 la, and then you feel like, oh, it's still okay, the voice still works, and then we're good to go for the next day.
So obviously when you started, you were like more precise with vocals, and now you have become like way more diverse. Like you said, you've started screaming, and you have done also like a lot more different kinds of voices. And you've released a lot of albums with Electric Callboy / Eskimo Callboy. So are there like some specific albums that you could pinpoint where you have felt that you've taken like big step forward as a vocalist?
For me, of course, when our old singer left the band, because I was just the second shouter, my vocal part was much less at the times. That was a big problem for me because I never, in the first years of this band, I never learned to be like self-confident with my voice, because I was always the second one, you know. And I like when we were in the studio, just like little vocal parts, but they weren't even, you couldn't even hear them. The thing is, now that like I am the one that does it, like when we recorded our first EP, I started to get confident and even started to learn more, and I think this is a very good thing. So. And every year you learn a little bit different, and the voice always changes a little bit, you know, of course. That's a good progress, I think. And I'm a musician, you know. I know how to write songs and I know how to write melodies, but I'm not a professional shouter. There are so many good people out there that know how to shout, that know, like, crazy guys from here to there, from left to right. I'm very impressed. I do my thing, and I'm happy with it. I love how it sounds in the mix. I love how it sounds on stage. But we're not one of those bands that are strikingly popular because of my absolutely phenomenal vocals.
Of course, you are also pushing your own boundaries with like every album.
And
so
that's
you are
a good
trying
thing
to
for
learn.
Me personal. Absolutely. Yeah.
Is that something that is difficult to find balance to when you are trying to like reach new levels but still remain you as a singer?
No, I just love it. I just love to do it because when it comes to new techniques, like this higher things in Ratatata, my body is a weapon, you know, like I never did this, you know, like I just tried it here and there and it worked, and I have to control it, because when you got out one of those tones once doesn't mean that you can control it, you know. You have to know, oh, that sounded good, and then then you have to learn how to do it all over again.
The cool thing about this is actually that like it's a process. So whenever I'm standing, for example, I'm standing in the booth and Kevin is like, hey dude, just sing that tone. My first impression would be, how? I can't. but then we are pushing each other. So whenever Kevin is like, I don't know how to do it, we're like, we know you can. So come on, let's go. And this is why it's so much fun, because we are like pushing each other to the limits. And this is why we actually always find something new to adjust and to learn. And it's so much fun. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So it's like your band's biggest strength in a way, that there's two vocalists that you could sort of like push each other.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we write the music in a way that only one guy couldn't do it. To be honest, like it's this typical studio writing, you know, like you're writing a song and then you're like, oh, how am I supposed to do that on stage, you know? Yeah. But it's good that there are two of us and we can help each other out. And there's always, I would say, a live version of a song and a studio version of a song. And it can be a little bit different.
But you still get pretty close normally live.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, we're going to give our best. Yeah, definitely.
I wanted to ask you a bit about like what were your parents' reactions when they heard you first time like screaming your lungs out? Have you gotten any feedback?
Yeah, my father was a musician as well. He was a singer. I don't know. He's completely into that typical rock music, you know, like straight from the 70s to like end of the 90s. But he's not really comfortable with that like super harsh vocals and screams and anything, but I'd say he's still proud, but it's not his kind of music.
My father always loved our music, but he was always like, yeah, the singing is very, very cool. The singing melody is very, very cool. He couldn't like deal with the screaming part, but in general he was more like proud, you know, that this thing was even there, to like that his son was going his way, like the way he wants it. Yeah.
So last question, any kind of advice that you would like to give to a young vocalist who is just about to start their journey? I guess this is a question that many people ask you when you meet them.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I can say one honest thing. Don't mess up your voice, I would say, because when I say I just got into a cellar room and screamed, you know, that might be wrong. So I don't want to give that advice. Like check some techniques, but the most important thing is to not be ashamed of screaming. Find an environment where you can scream your lungs out if you want to, without being like, I have to, like, because you have to very expressive, you know. And I remember when I first did it, those typical sound checks and little U-centers, you know, and yeah, give me a scream, I want to like adjust the mix. Like, you were so
embarrassed.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing
right now. Everybody's watching.
So, and if you want to learn it, just go into a cellar room and just where nobody can listen and just learn to get to know your voice.
The thing is, there is actually a very, very good way to learn it. So when you have siblings or parents or people that you love, just scream at them. Really, just that works. If you're not losing your voice after screaming like 10 hours straight to your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad, you're good to go.
Thanks a lot, guys, for doing this with us.
Very welcome. See you.